Hello, ladies. Hello.
That's Mark. That's the Crawford girl over there to the left on the bottom.
Wow. Nice. Hello, lovely ladies.
Hello.
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 Hi.
Good evening, everyone.
Is this just ladies or am I allowed in?
You're more than welcome to be here, sir.
Thank you.
Oh,
It's
look
much
at Cynthia.
appreciated.
Good evening, everyone. It's so wonderful to see everyone coming in. Lincoln University, friends, family, alum, current students. If you haven't done so already, please rename yourself on your screen so we can see and acknowledge all the alum that are here today. For example, you'll see my name. It says Brittany Stevens. Class is so fine, 2009. If you can rename yourself. To have your name and your graduating year.
So who starts?
We're just letting people come on in, Miss Binky. All right, it is 7 o'clock and we're going to get started. Guess we can stop the pictures. Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome to a celebration of Lincoln Women Pioneers. My name is Dawn Easter McCoy, and I am the chair of the AALU Programs Committee. A hearty hello to everyone. I'd like to say hello to Dr. Allen, Brenda Allen. Hi, see you there. Okay, hello to Dawn Florizard, president of the AALU. Hey, Dawn. I'd like to also say hello to my committee. That would be Dot Smallwood. Where are you? Hey, Dot. Hello to Carol Black. Hi. See you. Hello. Hello to Siobhan Jordan. Hey, Siobhan. And also hello to Donna Atmore Dolly. Thank you guys for being the women to help bring this program to fruition. I'd also like to say thank you to the Office of Alumni Relations, Deborah Johnson and Angela Groves for their help. And also would like to say thank you to Miss Lorian Anderson, Miss Legacy 2021. We thank you all again for participating in this celebration, this Women's History celebration called What's the Tea? We are here to hear the stories of campus life from the first ladies of Lincoln University. And that would be the graduates of the 1950s and 60s. We want to hear and learn what it was like to be the firsts and how they forged a new path in a historically male-only culture. Just to give you a brief housekeeping rules, we'd like you guys to keep yourselves muted and use the chat feature for any questions that you may have. After the actual program, there will be a question and answer period where the moderators will pull your questions that haven't been answered from the chat and give it directly to the MC, who will then put the questions to the panelists. Okay, somebody needs to mute. Okay, thank you. Without further ado, I will introduce our MC of the evening, Miss Brittany A. Stevens. Ms. Stevens is a highly motivated servant leader and energetic professional. She's a native of Baltimore, Maryland, and has a Master of Education from Central State University, and also has a political science undergraduate degree from Lincoln University, class of 2009. Brittany currently serves as the strategy manager at Collegiate Directions, a nonprofit organization committed to closing the education achievement and opportunity gap for low-income, primarily first-generation to college students. She also serves on a leadership team for a nonprofit organization named Educate Me. Through recruitment, Educate Me inspires interest and exposure to minority people to pursue a career in education and seek leadership roles to transform classrooms, schools, districts, and their communities. Embodying service, Brittany is actively engaged in her community, lives to motivate, loves to read and travel. She's active with the Set the Captives Free miniseries, TCP Academy board member, and is a very active member with the Baltimore Metropolitan Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Brittany, I'm going to turn this over to you, and let's have a great evening, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dawn, for that introduction. I am excited. I don't know about you all, but I have been anticipating this moment for the last few weeks since I was asked to come on to moderate this extraordinary panel. So I am happy. This is about what's the tea. So if your cup is empty right now, your love tank is surely about to be full by the end of this. Okay, so if you have a love tank on E, your love tank is about to be on full, because I'm trying to tell you right now that these women that we're about to speak to this evening are absolutely incredible. So I would like to say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. One thing that Lincoln taught me when I first got to campus was about advancing the legacy. So tonight I sit here before you as a class of 2009 legacy, sitting amongst legendary Lincoln Lions. All of you are. So family and friends, stay in tune. For those of you who do not know, 1854, first HBCU for sure. Absolutely. Lincoln University was founded April 29th, 1854 by John Miller Dickey and his wife. And a few years after that, well, maybe not even that few years, but in the early 1950s, they had started to admit women, faculty-wise to be exact. And in 1953, the charter was amended to allow amazing women. These women, I want to say, are risk takers, they're trendsetters, they are globetrotters. They are motivators, okay? They are the catalyst of change. They are everything that we always hoped and dreamed to be. They trotted the path before us. And so I need to do something right now. And that is to mention all of the names of the graduates from 1953. I keep saying 18. I'm not trying to age you all because you're young. You're very young, very young. From 1953 to 1969, we had about 36 graduates of women, Lincoln women, on this wonderful Wednesday. So I'll name them all for you to give honor and reverence to while we're here today. Miss Ruth Fales, class of 53. Miss Gladys Winfield Walls, class of 55. Miss Marcella Crawford Gray, class of 57. Miss Dorothy V. Shute, class of 58. Miss Deborah Reed Seay, class of 58. Seay. I hear you, Miss Binky.
Okay.
If y'all haven't met Miss Binky yet, you're going to be in for a treat. Miss P. Dorothy Murray, class of 59. Miss Patricia Reed Johnson, class of 62. Miss Helen Galloway Sowoda. Thank you. That is class of 62. Miss Phyllis Corbin Olton, class of 63. Miss Thelma Young Curl, class of 64. Miss Sandra Draper, class of 64. Miss Reban Anderson Harkwas,
Reba Ann Harkovitz.
Yeah. Class of 64. You see, when the legends are amongst you, they're going to make sure that you get it right. And I love them for it. This is what advancing the legacy is all about. Keep it coming. Miss Patricia Mitchell, class of 64. Miss Jean Willer Schultz, class of 64. Miss Charlotte Britlove, class of 65. Miss Emma L. Lester, class of 65. Miss Florence Collins Davis, class of 66. Miss Gloria J. Dullen, class of 66. Miss Honey Hastings, class of 66. Miss Phyllis Tazzy, class of 66. Miss Claudia Van Blake, class of 66. Miss Carol Black Adams, class of 67. Miss Emma C. Schoen, class of 67. Miss Athena Valmez, class of 60.
Valamis. It's okay.
Class of 67. All right. Miss Cynthia H. Amos, class of 68. Miss Sandra High, class of 68. She's on this board right now. Miss JoAnn Dashiell Asparagus, Esquire, class of 69. Miss May Caleb, class of 69. Dr. Lucia DeLone, class of 69. Miss Rosemary Ormond Davis, class of 69. Class of 69 was strong.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Sandra McGruder Jackson, class of 69. Miss Cheryl M. Miller, class of 69. Miss Lillian W. Pinnell, class of 69. Miss Catherine Lewin Phillips, class of 69. Miss Charlene Davis Smith, class of 69. And Miss Maxine Stewart, class of 69. If y'all can give a virtual round of applause for the first 36 female graduates of Lincoln University. They're the true orange and blue. All right, y'all look beautiful tonight. So without further ado, and I hear someone in the chat said the brothers are here to learn. Yes, you are. You're about to be in tune. So I want to thank for all the men that are on here with us tonight. The Lincoln Strong, always. So without further ado, I don't want to waste any more of your time because I know that you all are not here to hear me speak or belabor in front of you long. As the pastor say, I won't be in front of you long because we have some amazing women that are about to come on. I would like for our panelists, we have 8 panelists tonight, and I would like for each of them to go around and introduce themselves with their introductory pitch. Now, I will have to say this. They're going to give you a 30-second spiel because they have a lot of information to give you all. So they're going to tell you their name, their major, where they're from, a little bit about themselves, and they're going to start. I'm going to start right now with Miss Cynthia.
Okay, I'm Cynthia Amos. I'm a Philadelphian. I'm the class of 68. I transferred to Lincoln from Spelman, so I came in with the class of 69 women, the ones that you had so many names to read. And from there, I went to Brandeis, University of Texas, and had a career in the U.S. Public Health Service.
Major. Miss Binky?
Okay. I'm Deborah, Binky, Seay, a lifelong Philadelphian. I came to Lincoln in 1956. I was a transfer from Temple University. I came to Lincoln because my mother had gotten ill. I was out of school for a couple of years. I was able to come to Lincoln and stay with Dr. and Mrs. Farrell down in the village. And I majored, and when I was at the Temple, I majored in elementary education. But when I got to Lincoln, I was able to do what I had really, truly wanted to do all my life, which was to study French, major in French, and to get a degree in secondary education as well. So I was a French teacher for a skillion years, and I got a summer, what we called masters at the École Française in Middlebury, Vermont. I also got a degree later on from Cheney, a master's degree in elementary education because I'd gone into supervision by that time. I worked for about 25, 30 years in the school system, and then I became a salesperson with Scholastic, and also became a sales consultant with a company called Voyager and Reach for Reading. And then I retired, but I was about 75 when I retired.
All right, Miss Binky. That's a Miss Patsy. We're in a treat because we have sisters on the board.
I followed my sister Binky everywhere she went from the day I was born.
Wow.
Okay, I went to Temple, first of all, I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, but I moved to New York City. And after I graduated from Lincoln University, I went to Temple University as well. And I was taking business administration. And when Mom got sick, I transferred to Lincoln and I stayed 3 years and my major was English. I was an English teacher for about 17 years, made a decision to leave public education and went into independent school. And I was director of admission of the Dalton School in New York City. And I went to Harvard for a year because I wanted to become head of a school. And during that time, I worked at a place called the Efficacy Institute. I came back and went to the Hotchkiss School, a boarding school in Lakeville, Connecticut, and stayed there for 19 years. And I've been doing educational consulting since then. And let's see, what else? Was there anything else to talk about?
We got a master's from
a master's supervision and administration from City College. And then I got a master's. I got a certificate at the International Graduate Summer School at Oxford University, Exeter College. And I went to Breadloaf School of English, and I got a master's in English. And now I'm a storyteller, and that's it.
All right, Miss Patsy. As you can see, we've only gotten to our third person, and we have a well-rounded and educated.
Right.
Wow. All right. Next up, Miss Charlotte.
Charlotte Breedlove, are you talking?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. I attended Lincoln In 1962, I went there. I had formerly been at Penn State, and I came in as a transfer, like many. I was there until 65. I graduated. I got a job. I got a job doing social work. Then I ended up working for the federal government in the area of human resources. My major when I was in college was psychology. And my interest was more in it used to be called personnel, but now it's called human resource, which research. And so that's what I did for, 30 years. I ended up being the director of the Southeast region of the Department of Interior for this area, the Southeast. And I retired about maybe 14 years ago. And I've been doing absolutely nothing but traveling. I've traveled, I've been to every continent. I've been to Africa, China. I was in China for 6 months. I was mostly traveling and being retired. And now I spend a lot of time at a retirement center.
You're living. They say if my living is in vain, no one's living is in vain on here tonight. That's right. Miss Curl.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you just fine.
I entered Lincoln University in 1963. I majored in English and I graduated in 1967. I taught middle school English for 2 years. I also did a secondary education program at Lincoln. After 2 years, I was called back to Lincoln University to recruit students, a job which I absolutely loved. And a year after that, I was recruited by the University of Pennsylvania to recruit minority students, to direct their minority recruitment program. So I did that for about 6 years. And then my husband and I decided we needed to retool to be more effective in our communities. And we both went to law school together. We shared one lunch bag and one set of books, and we both graduated. We made it. We then opened our own law office. We practiced for about 25 years together until he became ill and passed away. After that, I returned to my ancestral home in Chester County, where I was born and raised, actually near Lincoln University. And actually, at that time, I sort of I never left Lincoln, actually. I've been involved with Lincoln University all of these years, either through the Alumni Association or through other efforts to support the university. Came back and I did some work for the Secretary of Health, Education Resources in Delaware. I remarried a Lincoln man, Joe Williams, class of 68. He happens to own a State Farm agency in Delaware. And so I obtained an insurance license and I've been working at his side ever since. I've raised a son who's now an attorney in Dubai, 2 daughters, one who's a social worker in Birmingham, Alabama, and is also a Lincoln University graduate, and a daughter who's a psychiatrist in Philadelphia.
Amazing. I mean, my love tank is full already. We haven't even gotten through introduction. Okay. Miss JoAnn.
Good evening. Hi, my name's JoAnn, Asparagus, married, and I am a native Eastern Shoreman by way of Philadelphia. I entered Lincoln in 1965, graduated in 69. From Lincoln, I went to the University of Pittsburgh to get a degree, a master's in social work, and a few years later to Duquesne to get a law degree. I've done a lot of things, good, some not so good, but anyway. For the last 25 years, I've been a family law magistrate.
All right, thank you. Miss Cheryl?
I just want to say I'm so pleased to be part of such a great idea tonight. I transferred to Lincoln in 1966, graduated in 1969 with a major in political science and a minor in economics. I went on from there to get a master's in city planning from MIT in 1971. And in 1988, I got a PhD in political science from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. For the first 10 years of my professional life, I worked in human service agencies, federal, state, local, and nonprofit. After marrying and having my 3 daughters, I decided to go back to school because I had been teaching part-time at North Carolina Central University and I loved it. And I decided I wanted to be a college professor. So that's why I went back to school and got my doctorate. For 31 years, I was a college professor, 10 of those as a college administrator, department chair, associate dean. And I retired in 2015. Since then, I have been focusing on volunteerism, grandchildren, and travel.
Amen. Amen. If you ever had to wonder if your degree mattered, I want you to look at the women that just introduced themselves. They have done extraordinary things. I mean, I'm just in awe right now. We spoke on Sunday, and I'm glad that they held their introductory because it's just amazing. There was a running trend in a lot of your stories that you just shared. A lot of you mentioned that you had transferred from one institution and you came to Lincoln. So my first question of this evening, and before, let me take a pause. Was Miss Gladys able to join us?
Yes, she's on.
Yeah, she's there.
She's on. I'm happy to that because we have a class of 55 graduate on here tonight, and I want to let y'all know it is absolutely amazing. So last but not least, Miss Gladys, would you introduce yourself for us, please?
And just so they know, she is the first African-American woman to graduate from Lincoln University.
Okay, well, I seemingly, I was at Temple University, and I decided that after being at Temple, that Horace Scott, who was then the general manager of Lincoln, that he would hire me. And so when I went to be interviewed, he said, how many years have you graduated? So anyway, what I'm trying to say is this, that because of him, because of Horace Scott, I was able to come back to Lincoln and graduate, because he felt that I was able to that I was able to do the work.
Right.
And also that the problem was, I don't know why he hired me, because there was someone else who had already graduated from a business school and I had not. So it was amazing that he hired me. So anyway, I continued on at Temple and then transferred to Lincoln. Okay, so when I went to Lincoln, there's so many wonderful things that I could say, but that I really would like to hear other people talk about it, because whenever I talk about Lincoln University, I always hear all these stories about who did that, and why was he able to make and why was he able to make 100 degree alcohol? I would like to hear that people talk about that, because this is, we had a wonderful situation before, and I'd like to hear the men talk about what they experience.
That's so cute.
I love it. I absolutely love it. This is history. That's a living legend right there. The first African-American female graduate of Lincoln University, class of 55, Miss Gladys. I mean, we are in full. We are in full, and this is a treat. This is a true treat. So I hope that you guys take all of this in. My first question: what brought you all to Lincoln University? What brought you to Route 1, past the cornfields, the smell of the mushrooms, past the Amish? What made you transfer, as many of you all did, transfer from another institution to Lincoln University? What brought you to Lincoln? And I want to hear from Miss Binky first.
Oh Lord, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Later on with Miss Gladys, she's talking about 100-degree liquor. She means 100 proof. Sometime we'll have a private conversation about that, Gladys.
All right.
Oh, I like but really what they drank was wine. But anyway, mine was truly, really a financial situation. Even though Temple didn't cost a lot, it was a lot for me, and especially with my mother being ill. She had what we used to call nervous breakdowns in those days, and a very viable woman, but she got sick. So I had 4 other sisters, and so I could come home and sort of be the mother, so to speak. But then, of course, my father, all of us, I wanted to finish school. So Harold Farrell said to my father, who had been a classmate of his at Lincoln, and they graduated in 1934, why don't you have Binky come out here? She can help Mary with the kids and what have you, and so she won't have to pay any room, and she'll earn her board, and her tuition will be covered by a senatorial scholarship. So that is how I came. But I had a history of Lincoln because my father had gone there and my grandfather, and I was familiar with it because at that time they would have homecomings, and Daddy would take all of us children out there, for the homecomings. And it really turned out to be one of the best experiences I ever had in my life, and I'm eternally grateful that I was able to attend Lincoln and then move on further from there. I want to say too that Mr. Scott, who hired Gladys, when my husband was there at Lincoln, and he was not a boyfriend from Lincoln, I'd grown up with him, but everybody used to run from Mr. Scott because he was the one who was trying to catch the people who didn't pay their tuitions, okay? So Mr. Scott, he was a fine gentleman, and when he gave Gladys that job, trust me, she had to know what she was doing because that man could get the money, all right? Okay, that's it, all right.
All right. Miss Cynthia, how about you? What brought you to Lincoln University?
From Spelman.
Yes.
So I'm a Philadelphian, as I said, and I wanted to go to an HBCU, and I wound up going to Spelman, which, as you know, has a very good reputation. And I had my oldest sister lived in Atlanta at that time, but I went there and I was miserable. Because I'm the youngest of 5, and I was pretty much very sheltered, and I missed home. And my sister left Atlanta in my second half of my freshman year, and I knew that I had to go. And so I wanted to go to an HBCU, and my oldest brother recommended Lincoln, that I look into Lincoln, because he knew that they were going to have resident housing for females that next year. And I did want to be on campus. I did not want to be a commuter. So with that coming about in 65, it was like the perfect match for me because it was closer to home. And so I left following my sister to Atlanta, and I followed my brother. He didn't go to Lincoln, but he worked there. And so I went to Lincoln, and it was the best decision. It worked out so well for me because it also helped me to find my own voice, but we'll get into that.
We'll definitely get into that. I love it. I absolutely love it. I would like to know, when people are going out to recruit more students to go into school, they always want to ask, how are the living situations on campus? And I want to know, back then, in a male dominating territory as a male institution, how was the living situations while you were there? Miss Charlotte?
Well, actually, we were not in the dorm. We were staying in the quote village. And I had a roommate. It was just like being in a dorm. And the first year, Emma Burrs and myself were roommates, and we were the two that were staying there. The second year, that's when they started recruiting more girls. Mm-hmm. And then it ended up that we had something like maybe it was the second year, but we had maybe 4 girls staying at the house, each one shared two in a room. And it was sort of like, we did everything together, hung out together, went to whatever activities, and went to class. The hardest part was getting up early if you had an 8 o'clock class. We did, I guess, to me, it was very similar to a dorm situation. But at that time, we were still having to walk to campus. And I don't remember it being a long walk, but it probably was if I had to do it now.
Oh, okay. So
she was a road runner.
Yeah, and what happened was, and she provided us with meals, breakfast, lunch. So it was like being in a dorm in the sense of it, but not being in a dorm where there are like 25 girls or 10 girls.
Yeah, I would like to know, you mentioned 2 things. You said road runner and village. For the people that don't know, I need someone to explain to me, what was the village on Lincoln University's campus? Miss Patsy?
I don't know as much about it because remember, I was the one who came in from Philadelphia 3 times a week.
Okay.
Binky knows better.
Yeah, well, really, the village was just a further down the road from the actual buildings of Lincoln were. That was just a thriving community. There were people who lived there who had raised their children, who had, had homes. Many of them worked, I think, at Lincoln.
Right.
Maybe not even professors, but, just in doing all the thing, working in the plant, of Lincoln. And it was just called the village. And I guess I said, what is it down there? They said the village. So it was the village.
There was also a vets village. And this is where the returning veterans and their families lived. An area down, I think, behind, now it would be behind maybe Living Learning Center.
Okay. And the term road runner, you called Miss Charlotte a road runner. Miss Cheryl, do you know anything about the road runners?
That was before my time. When I came, we had a dorm.
I thought the road runners were the guys who were getting on the road with cars to go to see the girls at Cheney.
Oh.
Going up the pike, they used to call it. That's what I thought it was.
They called us who lived at Dr. Farrell's, because we had to come up Route 1 to go to classes, so they called us the road runners.
Oh, really? See, but see, that was after I came, because I guess I was the only road runner at the time.
Right.
So I did, but I guess so, because it's coming all the way from down there all the way up.
We
We didn't have cars, we walked.
Right.
Well, the village that we stayed in, I don't think now you can actually go to the village or walk to it as easily as we did at that time.
Right.
They built or locked it up.
Wasn't there a general store down there? Didn't they have a
I don't
store?
remember any general store. All I remember is the house that, we never went to the store because we ate everything there.
Oh, okay, but there was a store down there.
Yeah, but
I'm positive. I know Gladys would know.
And sometimes we would
Cheryl,
go up to
might
the
know
highway to
because
go to some of the restaurants, but other than that.
Oh, they didn't have honey. The only restaurant I knew was at the what was that place that you would what did they call it? Where you could go and get a hamburger and all that stuff right on the campus. What was the name of it?
The Roadhouse.
Yeah.
Not the Roadhouse. That was off right on campus.
Oh, that was on Route 1.
Yeah.
That
we-
was on Route 1.
Yeah.
No, at
There was something on the
Lincoln.
campus.
You mean
What was
Sissy?
it called, Patsy?
Oh, Sissies.
Sissies.
Sissies, yeah.
No, it was something that was right on campus, at where you would go and get like hamburgers and all that kind of stuff. I don't remember what the name of it was.
If you
I
couldn't
Well,
can't
by the
remember.
time we were there, eventually they built a student union, which was
Right.
Yes, we didn't have.
easier.
I
No,
love
I was a
hearing
roadrunner.
that it
I was
hasn't
a
been so
roadrunner.
many years that between each all of you, and so much has changed.
Right.
I love to know about that. So one thing that we want to know as women, since we are majority women, and this is to honor women on tonight, the legacies and the legends. Miss Gladys, as the first female graduate, can you tell us how did the women get along on campus?
How did the women get along?
Yes, did they get along? What was the relationships like?
Oh, the women, when I was there, there were very, very few women there.
Right.
So therefore, there was no women to get along with.
Right. She's right.
So
I would like to hear them from the men, because they must have some very interesting thing to say. Like,
I can tell you
how did they make the alcohol? How did they make the 100-degree alcohol? I'd like to hear from the men.
Gladys, if I may, the picture behind me, these were women at Lincoln when I got there. There were about 20 women, if you can see them in the back.
I can see.
And we were all close.
Right.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So wants to know about how the men were on campus and what they did. I want to know what was the Lincoln man? How was the Lincoln man on campus? How did they all treat the ladies when you were all on campus? And I see Miss Cynthia, you was trying to chime in. Do you know how were you treated by the men on campus?
Respectfully.
Oh, that's not what I was going to chime in on, but I will say, because we really didn't cover that first group of residential females on campus, and our dorm was the alumni house. Okay. So I think, listening to the other ladies, that was the first time where there was a large group, and I put large in quotations, of women living together on campus. So I think there were about 25 in there, Joe?
18.
18 in the house?
18.
Okay. And so we got a lot of attention from the guys.
Mm-hmm.
They would let us know what they thought about us by dropping nickels and throwing nickels at us when we walked across campus.
Right.
And for those of you who don't know, when we went to Lincoln, the grading system was from 1 to 5, 1 being an A,
and
a 5 being an F,
Mm-hmm.
a nickel, thus meaning they didn't think much about your looks.
Right.
And they pretty much, declared us all to be nickels. And there were some among us who didn't mind having the nickels thrown, because they said they weren't too proud to bend down and pick them up, because that gave them money to go to the Roadhouse and get Sissy's hoagies and stuff, hamburger hoagies. So,
Cynthia, wouldn't you say they were for the most part, they were respectful of us?
Yes.
What? They were. I mean, they would say things like, okay, for example, when we got on campus,
right,
there were no lights on campus.
Right.
So they put this handful of girls on this campus with these guys, and then they said, oops, there are no lights. So that, I think within that first week, they strung all these lights off of these wires, because they knew there needed to be some lights. Now, and the guys during that time, they used to say, we could do whatever we wanted to do to you guys and nobody would ever know. But they were just messing around, they weren't serious about that.
No.
For the most part, they were pretty
respectful.
Accepting. There were those who I think had some pushback because they weren't real happy with women coming on, but I think that was the exception, Joe.
Yeah, I agree. I think, that, people were concerned that it was no longer going to be all male. And we got comments about that. And of course, when they put the lights up, they said, oh, now we're on Broadway. We didn't get all that. But as far as people, being very nasty to you.
They weren't.
They weren't. No, they weren't.
Also, women earned the respect because a lot of women were setting the grades in the classes.
Yeah.
They had to defer to that.
Right.
There's no arguing that the women were not up to speed because the women were leading.
Right. It dispelled their belief that we all came in there just to find a husband.
Right.
And so, yeah.
That was and remember Sam Brown, they had this form because we had a white dorm mother.
Yeah.
Poor Miss Minor. And Sam Anderson was, and Rocky were concerned that we were being that we had this woman as a dorm mother, and she was harmless. So, I think she was really afraid of us. But I must say, I think all of us had our own personalities and really were not intimidated.
Right.
Kathy attacked someone who was 6 feet tall over a recorder. I mean, most people would not have gone to this length, but and I'm like, I was stunned that here she is, 5 feet or 4'9",
right?
And Dick Body is like 6 feet, and he had taken the recorder when she was supposed to get it, and I honestly thought she was going to take it apart. But I mean, most of us really stood our ground with these guys, and I think that's what Carol is saying about it. I mean, we didn't kowtow to them.
Can I say something?
Go ahead, Miss Patsy.
Okay, it's in my time, I was there before we had bathrooms for girls. So I was at University Hall many times, and I had to shoot the Vail Library to go to the bathroom. And so Eddie Mandeville, who was a friend of mine, with whom I met the first day, and he said to me, I'll hold the door for you, Patsy, while you go to the bathroom.
Right.
And he was really elegant about that. To this day, his wife, he and I, and their children and our kids have gone to camp together. We had a relationship which was really terrific. And so the guys really tried to help. Because there were only 2 of us at that time. And, you were really stuck. If you had to do something or go off the campus, they were always ready to help you if they had anything to do. I listened to them mostly because they were, how girls always cry when boys leave us? You should see boys cry when girls leave them. I used to pat more boys. Please, okay, you'll survive. And some of that came back on us, which was really good. Traveling with young men from Philadelphia on up. Binky's husband, Harry, was a history and political science major, and he taught us history. We always got A's in the class because he would teach us history from the time we got into the class till we got onto the campus. Larry Neal met me. He lived on the campus. He begged for me to be in a play. I was in a play called An Enemy of the People by Henrik Ibsen. It's about pollution in water. And he and I got to be very good friends. He was one of the first last poets. We had people like Gil Scott Heron, who were really doing big things off the campus. And these kids, we were solid friends. We're still friends with a lot of the kids who went to Lincoln University. That's what my parents did. They were good friends, and they stayed friends till death.
There were no women bathrooms in University Hall, and even up to the time I graduated.
Right.
We still had to run across. I don't know where we went somewhere.
Yes, I don't remember where.
Behind the trees.
Eddie saved my life. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe we went to the library.
Nickels thrown on you to running across campus. I mean, let's talk about perseverance. What made you persevere through these challenging times? What was your light? What was your why? Why did you continue to go through and matriculate at Lincoln University with so much on your shoulders? What made you do all that you have done? Miss Patsy said, "Don't call me right now. I understand." So I want to hear from you, Miss Cheryl. You have gone on to do great things in your life. So what made you persevere during your time at Lincoln University?
I was just so fortunate. We were talking about guys, and I can truly say that Lincoln had the best of guys, and it had a few of the worst of guys. I saw young ladies cry who got nickels thrown at them. It wouldn't have been me, but some did. But I experienced the best. I ended up in Lincoln because I had a friend, a guy friend, just a friend, and I came home from Grinnell College in Iowa and had no idea I could never go back until I hit Philadelphia. And I told him, I said, I'm so unhappy. It was the civil rights movement. He said, do you have a transcript? Your grades yet? I said, yes. He said, okay, I'll come tomorrow, pick you up, and I'll take you to Lincoln. He took me to Lincoln. He knew the director of admissions, and I got in the same day with a full scholarship. That's what a Lincoln man did for me. So, you know, it was the place to be. Like Patsy said, there were people, Erica Huggins, Gil Scott Heron. It was the place to be at that point in time. It had a life and it was connected to what was going on. And so that, you know, that made it easier. Plus, as I said also, the guys the classes were vibrant. It was intellectual.
Smart. They were smart.
I got the best education in the world. And I loved it when, you know, and like they said, you would have to earn their respect, because I was fairly quiet and I'd sit there, not have much to say. And then the curves would come out.
Right.
And, you know, you would earn their respect that way. So I ended up graduating summa cum laude.
Right.
So I loved that. It was the best education in the world. It was relevant to what was going on at the time. So I would not have left no matter what. I had a great boyfriend my first year. Right. I mean, it was a great experience.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. I have to ask this question since we just talked about the males, and you just said, Ms. Cheryl, you had a great boyfriend while you were on campus. And this question was submitted by the committee, and they want to know, did you date a Lincoln man?
Yes.
If so, I saw Miss Cheryl did. And if so, did you have the honor of marrying a Lincoln man? Was the legacy continue? Miss Charlotte said, no.
He did.
Some people did.
I married a Lincoln man.
Than me, and so we went different ways. But I know several people who did. Didn't Kathy with Mo?
Yeah, Kathy, I did. I married a Lincoln man, and he divorced me.
He's bad.
But they are good friends to this day.
Right. We were not meant to be married, but we were good friends, and we still remain friends to this day.
Right.
And my sister Binky married someone from
but he wasn't at Lincoln at the time. He was from Philadelphia way back, but I did marry a Lincoln man.
I married a Lincoln man. Actually, my first husband, even though he's a graduate of Cheney, he always loved Lincoln. And fortunately, later in life, he had written several books. Right. He was invited to be on the faculty at Lincoln University. Right. And so he immensely enjoyed teaching fiction and drama and all kinds of things, and even brought out the student magazine.
And Patsy, you know that Carol married Billy Adams.
Right. Billy Adams and I were in elementary school together.
Right.
Kindergarten to 6th grade, and he always beat me in math.
Right.
And by the way, I did have he's not my husband now, but my ex-husband, he taught art and art history at Lincoln University for a year. So I went back as a faculty member's wife. I forgot all about that too.
Yeah.
Okay.
As I always say, Lincoln's in my DNA. My father graduated from Lincoln. My great uncle graduated from Lincoln. Almost everybody I knew graduated from Lincoln. I went to the reunions. I sat on Thurgood Marshall's lap. I knew Langston Hughes. I sat next to Melvin Tolson. I mean, these were just magnificent experience.
Wow. Wow. We talked about the men. We talked about how the women on campus got along with each other, or wasn't that many there at in the early years until the later 60s. I do want to know about, how did the professors treat you on campus? How was the professors, faculty, staff, administration? How did they treat you on campus? And I want to start with you, Miss Gladys, since you actually you led the way.
Well, the thing of it is, when I transferred from Temple to Lincoln University, they felt that we had everything straightened out, but we didn't. So when I did get to Lincoln University, I had to decide whether I'm going to use Lincoln scholarship or not. So I did that, and I had so many experiences. I don't even know which way to go. But anyway, I did come. One of the things that makes me interested is the fact that Harold Scott was the man who turned my life around, because he is the one who said, I want to hire you rather than the person who had graduated from a business school. So you see, this is interesting. So anyway, so we had a wonderful time. All of the things that you can think of right now. But I'd like to hear from the men, because they are the ones who decided what we were all about. So I hope that the men will enjoy coming into this
meeting.
Yes, we're going to have some of the men are going to ask some questions. We're going to turn it over about 8 o'clock, and we're going to ask some questions from the chat. And my first question is going to come from a man, just for you. So Miss Gladys, we're going to make sure we're granting every single wish for you tonight.
In answer to the question that you asked about professors, I was sitting here thinking, I don't recall in the 4 years that I was there, and Cynthia, you might also chime in on this. I don't recall anyone complaining about a professor treating them differently. I never had that with any of the classes that I had.
I either.
I may have tried to get different treatment, but I don't recall that was ever an issue.
No, you respected it. So if you did your work and you studied and didn't come in like an airhead, they gave you all the, it just was no different. They were just, I can't explain it. Because I was, for one thing, I wasn't the most brilliant thing on the planet, but I was going to be brilliant when I was in those classrooms. Somebody was going to call me dumb and stupid, okay?
All right.
Right. Yeah.
Because I went in with an attitude like that. And I had, you remember, I had like Professor Waring and Dr. Grimm and everything, because I was taking Spanish and French, and then I had Daddy Rareback, which was Dean McCrae, and for the what do you call it?
Education courses.
Yeah, yes, education courses. And if you came in and did your work, they just treated you the right way. That's all there was to it.
All right. I want to know, a lot of you guys, of course, was there from 53 to 69. Did you guys have any clubs on campus, or did you join or start any clubs or organizations while you were there on campus?
No, I was in this play, and they needed a woman called Oh, Christ, I can't even
Bell,
remember.
Book,
With
and
Pie
Candle.
Wacket. What the heck was the name of it?
Bell, Book, and Candle.
Yeah, Bell, Book, and Candle. I didn't want to be in that doggone play, but they needed somebody, they needed a woman. And you had to hold this cat named Pie Wacket, and I was scared of cats, okay? And I would just sit up there like, you know, just like this. I was in the play, and then I was in a couple other things. I think, Carol, you were the one that found the pictures of me in the archives in certain things. It looked like I was in a sociology club. I don't even remember that. And a couple other things, but I didn't start anything. I was just the only female in whatever the males were doing in that thing.
I'm
Well,
sure
Carol and Brenda Blount, I guess, were the pioneers for the sororities, because Carol was, I think you had already pledged when we came, and Brenda was already in AKA. So we had our first AKA line and Delta line while we were there. But I think we just joined the organizations that existed.
Right.
I was elected secretary of the school. I think it was my freshman year, and probably nobody else ran but me. But yeah, I don't remember creating anything.
Didn't you join the chorus?
Yes, I did. I sang in the choir. I cannot sing, but they had 7 of us. There were 7 of us, and I joined the choir because the choir traveled. And so I like to smile. So I was on the front row. Brenda, all the other girls could sing. Maxine, Brenda, Janice, they had beautiful voices. I, of course, was just mouthing the songs, and I was just smiling. So we were in New York at a concert, and this people came up and said, "Oh, that must have been you with that beautiful voice." But they all made sure that I did not actually sing with the choir. I just traveled with the choir. But we didn't have physical education, because again, they didn't have any program for women for physical education. So
we had cheerleading. We did cheerleading. That was our gym requirement.
Wow.
All right, so my last question before we get to the audience questions, and it's going to be the first one. It's going to be from a male, Miss Gladys. I would like to know, what was your one most impactful moment that happened while you were on Lincoln's campus that still sticks with you today? Like, what is that one memorable thing that sticks with you today? I'm gonna give some people time to think about it, but because I see some of y'all like, oh, what was it? It's so many memories, so many good memories. So Miss Carol.
There's so many. I think a defining moment for me was the choice of my major, because I really didn't know what I wanted to major in. I just loved everything. And I remember having a conversation with Dr. Farrell. And actually, this was during freshman orientation. And in those days, freshman registration was in Grim Gym and was always hot as hell, at least 100 degrees. And you had to go around and get every professor to sign off on your course. And my last stop was Dr. Farrell. And he said, "What are you going to major in?" And I said, "I don't know." He said, "You're going to be an English major." I said, "Okay." And that's what happened. And that really did define my life on campus. I went on to work on the newspaper and the yearbook. I was editor of both, and just enjoyed learning to write. And that served me well in law school and beyond.
Absolutely. I love it. Everyone did a beyond. I'm coming right to you, Miss Cheryl.
Yeah, I really have one. And my kids sometimes will say, and grandkids, they'll say, "Well, why do you go to Africa so much? Or why do you have so many Black things in the house, like paintings and whatever else?" And it really goes back to, I'll never forget how awed I was that Dr. Hamilton, Charles Hamilton, used his class to look at drafts of Black Power, the manifesto, and brought in Stokely Carmichael to the class. That made me Afrocentric forever, that we were part of that discussion of that book. I don't know if anybody here was in it who's in the class of 69, but I was a political science major and I was in it. It was mostly seniors and juniors, but somehow I was in it. And that affected who I am, who I was, and who I am to this day. that I was part of that movement, or that he actually thought enough of us to make that a class, his thoughts and Stokely Carmichael's thoughts about where we go as Black people. So that for me is one of the biggest legacies of Lincoln.
Wow. And Ms. Cheryl, I too was a political science major at Lincoln University. And you guys, most of you guys were there at the height of the civil rights movement. So absolutely amazing. Miss Charlotte, do you have your one impactful story?
Gosh, you're making me think. I'm not
just a little bit, just a little bit, Miss Charlotte.
I remember the one thing we did do some marching during the civil rights, but it was very little. And we went to, there was a movie theater in Delaware, in Wilmington, Delaware. And we would go there every weekend and march. And it was very cold. And then we'd come back, and it turned out that the whole situation was resolved immediately because someone from another country came in, and they were not citizens, and the State Department stepped in and made them integrate the movie house. But that was what happened. Now, there were so many things going on. I don't remember any, I can't hardly remember being in school. So bad.
All right.
At that stage, I don't remember anything. But it was just a great experience. The guys were great. I mean, they were always friendly. I don't remember, and the professors were always friendly. You know, I don't remember anything negative about the school at all. And it was and you know, it helped me in my career. I mean, the fact that I ended up in Atlanta was because someone realized that I had gone to school at Lincoln University and recommended me for a job in Atlanta. And that's how I ended up living here.
Absolutely. When you said that there's nothing negative that you had left away, that, I mean, that right there in itself, that's very impactful. You know, I'm coming over to you, Miss Binky.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Yes, a good
Lord have mercy on
well,
you.
you know, Brittany, I was so interested to know that when I told you the story, which I'm going to tell them now, about the kindness. When I think about it, the kindness of the boys, I called them, but of course they were young men. And we talked about the young man from Baltimore whose name was Norman Van Allen Reeves.
Yes,
and he was from Baltimore, and he had muscular dystrophy. And so in order to walk across the campus, many days he would just lope along, and it was agony for him. But there would always be someone who would see him with that painful walk and run to him and put him on their back like this, and he would be like this, and they would walk to University Hall or what have you. He had a great personality. He was a nice guy. He was given by us, because everyone at Lincoln everybody got a nickname. And Norman Van Allen Reeves, that majestic name, the young man who could barely walk across the campus, his nickname was Speedy. Speedy Reeves, all right? Now, Speedy could but now I'm telling you, it took him so long. Speedy, and I said to Brittany, she said, you know, I said, you're from Baltimore. I said, do you know? She said, yes, I do. And what did you tell me? He became a council member. Isn't that what you said?
He became a council member in Baltimore. In
the Baltimore area. But they were so kind to him, you know, and kind enough to give him a nickname, you know, that you would think he was making fun of him. It just said what he was. He wasn't Speedy. He gave him that name, but they were kind to him.
Yes, yes.
You know, that's what I liked about it. Innately, they were, as the young men when I was there, innately they were kind, they were bright, I'll never forget, and then I'm gonna shut up. I'll never forget standing in front of a University Hall, and we were, it was a beautiful, beautiful day. We were waiting for the doors to open. And there was a young man whose name was Theodore Miles. Well, Theodore was from Jabip somewhere, and he had a real country accent, and his name was Country. So he was Country Miles. But he was walking across that day, and he looked up and he said, "My heart leaps up when I behold a rainbow in the sky." Everybody laughed. Everybody, but you see, they were poetic. They were bright. I can't explain it. I just really. You would have thought that they were going to be animals, and they could be animals, but I mean, basically, they were bright, they were kind, they were nice.
I love it. As some good brothers say, he ain't heavy, he's my brother.
Yes.
I would like to, does anyone else have an impact moment? Because we do have questions coming in from the chat. And I know, please forgive us if we do not get all your questions answered tonight. I mean, this is such of a wealth of knowledge, and I don't want to have anyone feel slighted. But I do want to.
I did want to say one thing. I can't think of one moment because all 4 years, so much happened. I mean, it would take a long time to go through everything. Mm-hmm. But Cynthia and I did Lincoln University campus on a compass, her senior year, my junior year, and that was amazing. Mm-hmm. We did 4 continents, I think it's 8 countries. It was an absolutely marvelous experience, but it just sort of culminating all of the things. It was such a growth period for me personally, and that trip was something that I'll never forget.
I have something that
I know you do, Miss Patsy.
But this has to do when my ex and I were there. It's between 68 and 69. Charles Hamilton, who came to speak at Lincoln University, and his wife Chuck.
No, Donna.
Donna and Chuck Hamilton were invited to dinner with the provost, who was then John Markham, and his wife Gwen Markham. And Chuck and Donna had a conversation with us, and they made it. Not only did they come and speak at the school, but they came to visit, and they helped us make a decision about where we were going to go later in our lives. And the thing that I understood about Lincoln University is that when we teach kids, prep kids and all that stuff, we teach them to network.
Yes.
Lincoln University was the school of networking. Mm-hmm. Although you didn't pay much attention to it, you just hooked up with people and knew them from later on. And the most impactful thing happened while we were there from 68 to 69. I think it was Martin Luther King Jr. was killed, and Alvin Ailey dancers were on the stage dancing. And they came and told us in the middle of the evening that the Martin Luther King had been shot. They didn't know if he was dead yet, but they already knew he was dead. And they didn't tell the Alvin Ailey dancers until it was over. Mm. And they told the Alvin Ailey dancers, and literally, they stand up and they're so tall and they're majestic, and they just almost fell apart. It was an amazing and astonishing thing to happen. One, that Alvin Ailey was at Lincoln University, and they always brought the best and the brightest people on our stages, but also that was a night that was so impactful, which I have never forgotten. I mean, that is not a downer or an upper, but it's about networking and knowing people and being there when things were happening. It wasn't a school in a bubble. It was a school for everybody.
Mm-hmm. And many of us were disciples of Dr. Hamilton.
Yes.
When he was teaching at Lincoln at that time.
Right.
And they were writing Black Power. And it was my honor and privilege 2 years ago to go to a celebration marking the 50th anniversary of the publication of Black Power. And I have a magnificent picture with Dr. Hamilton.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So let me get into some of these questions in the chat. And so Miss Gladys, and these were given to me from a woman, but I hope that this first question is from a man. And I would like to know, did you experience any racism in Oxford while you were there, Miss Gladys?
Oh yeah, they were terrible.
Racism?
Yes, ma'am.
In Oxford?
You mean in general? In general or in the school?
while you were around the school in the area?
While I was around the school, I didn't experience racism, but while I was there, I was working. I was working in the business office because I told you that Miss Horace Scott hired me, and when we went to business school, not business school, but when we went to school, he always gave us a time that we could leave and to come back. It was just a wonderful experience.
Mm-hmm. When was the last time you all have visited Lincoln? I know some of you spoke about homecoming. When was the last time you came to Lincoln's campus?
Well, the last time I came to Lincoln's campus was about 4 years ago. Maybe like 4 years ago. And there was always an alumni night. Mm-hmm. And it was a big one. This is big. And Grace Frankowski, she knew everybody.
Yeah. I love
that. So yeah, she knew everybody at Lincoln. And so it was, go ahead.
I was going to say, everyone knew, Oxford was not welcoming.
No.
And neither was any of the other small communities in the area. And we knew it was Klan territory.
Yeah.
So you never went to Oxford alone.
No.
Right.
And I will say it's much better now. I mean, relationship between Lincoln University and Oxford has just been tremendous. But we were aware of the Klan. We saw crosses burning in my time.
Sure.
Oh, really?
It was prejudice.
Oh, yeah.
Rising Sun, Maryland was very close, and they had the Klan.
Yes.
Huge Klan.
Right.
Yes, huge Klan rallies.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And I do want to let everyone know that is listening that this is being recorded. I do see some people are saying that we should do this again. So we're going to get on the planning committee so this can happen more frequently, because I mean, it's so much packed into this 1 hour setting that we won't be able to get to everything. But I do want to ask another question that is coming in from the chat, and it's coming in so quickly. So I'm trying to make sure that I read very fastly, because I do not want to disappoint the well-educated women on here.
You're not. You're doing a great job.
Thank you. Oh, from Miss Patsy.
Keep it up, girl. Keep the pressure on.
I'm going out with all of you ladies.
Lions roar.
Well, Lions roar. Hail,
Lincoln.
All right. Someone asked about what was the experience with John and Erica Huggins, the Black Panthers?
Uh-huh.
I think they have the names. I think they have the names wrong. Erica Huggins. There must be talking about John. What was John's last name?
They just
last name was Huggins.
He was president of the student council.
You talking about
John and his wife?
Huggins.
John Clark and his wife. But Erica was not. Yeah, Erica was not married when she was on campus. That was, I think it was my sophomore year when Erica was there. She was only there for a year. And then actually, I think the very next year, wasn't it 68 when they had the Chicago, when she was involved with that and arrested. But to my knowledge, she was not married when she was on campus.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
But they were activists. They were part of the struggle, and they left school because of the struggle.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. To go back to California.
Mm-hmm.
That's when because she was with Bobby Seale
Mm-hmm.
In Chicago at the Democratic National
That's right.
Convention.
Oh, whoa.
And
That's rough.
Let me ask, would you all do it again? Would you go?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, no question. Without question.
Without question.
Yes, absolutely.
Y'all will do it all over again.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. That's what I love to hear. Anytime I run into a Lincoln woman, a Lincoln woman, a Lincoln man, they say that their best times in life happened at Lincoln University. And I can truly attest to that. I can go anywhere in the world and run into somebody from Lincoln.
You want to see somebody. Mm-hmm.
You're going to see somebody, and it's going to be love.
Right.
Love, it's going to be fellowship, it's going to be some gems, it's going to be, it's going to be a gathering pot of information. And that's what I truly love about Lincoln. I say I was raised in Baltimore, but I grew at Lincoln.
Yes.
I am Lincoln. We all bleed orange and blue. We are Lincoln Lions. This is the Lady Pioneer session. And this is on Wednesday. This is a Women's Crush Wednesday. That's new lingo for y'all. I don't know.
I like it. Well, we invented resilience, I think, especially that first 35 or 40. You could not come out of there and not be resilient for life and know how to engage in life.
Right.
Absolutely. Miss Charlotte, you had to say something?
No, I was just going to say the quality of the education was the best. I don't think it could do any better.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was a small school.
Yeah.
And you had almost individual instructors. I mean, it was because there weren't sometimes maybe only 4 or 5 people in your major.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so it was just the best.
And probably for many of us, it was the first time we even saw a Black professor.
Right.
And the teaching styles are totally different. I mean, you learn at Lincoln, you're nurtured at Lincoln.
That's right.
They see, without even talking to you, they seem to understand what you needed.
Right.
And could give it to you.
Wow. So I want you all to go around. I'm going to start with Miss Gladys to have one word that describes your Lincoln University experience.
That would say Lincoln University. I would just say lucky, very, very lucky to be a part of it.
I love it. Lucky. Miss Binky?
Enlightened.
Enlightened. Oh, I love that one. Enlightened. Miss Patsy?
Extraordinary.
Extraordinary. Miss Charlotte?
Wonderful experience.
Wonderful blessings. Miss Cynthia?
Mine was taken, so I'll say eye-opening.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Cheryl?
Formative.
Mm-hmm. Good, Cheryl.
Miss Carol?
Yeah, somebody took mine, but I would say life-changing.
Life-changing. Miss JoAnn?
Amazing.
Amazing. I mean, all of those words combined in one. We just need to have like a portrait of all the Lincoln women pioneers, because we hear so much about the men that have trotted the path of Lincoln University. And not to take anything from the Thurgoods, from the Langstons, the Kwame Nkrumah, the Nana Ezekwe, all of those people, the Roscoe Lee Brown. I even heard of, did Paul Robeson attend Lincoln?
No.
Oh, wow.
Oh, he went to Rutgers.
He went to Rutgers.
He didn't graduate. Right.
His father did.
His father did. That's what he was raised in a village.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
All right. I see. I'm learning something. You got it. Information.
Yeah.
So I am so happy to hear all of these things from these first women that have done things on campus. And I want to get a portrait with all of the names that you just said with you on it. And we need some shirts to come out.
Yeah,
here.
I want that women's shirt. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Miss Becky says she wants a women's shirt.
I'll buy it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna buy it for you.
Oh, Lord have mercy, child. I told you were well raised.
I think Leslie Jordan Anderson is listening. She was the spearheaded this t-shirt effort, and I think she's going to come forward for us.
Oh, wow.
Like that.
I want to write down, I know we have to wrap up in just a moment. Do we have time for just one more question, Ms. Dawn?
You have 20 minutes, 10
Yeah,
minutes.
we have one more, and then we're going to have closing remarks from Dr. Allen and from Dawn Flurzard. So one more question would be great.
One more question. So let me get a good one from this here chat. I want to make sure I want to make sure everyone feels included. Do y'all feel loved tonight? That's what I want.
Absolutely.
I mean, I feel I told y'all from the beginning, my love tank was on full. My cheeks are hurting right now. I love so much.
You sound like Ayanna Presley, girl. Just like her. Your language patterning is fabulous.
Thank you.
Patsy, somebody on chat said you sound like Dr. Judy Thomas. Did you know her?
I knew her.
Okay.
No.
So the last question that I have for you all from me will be from the chat is, how do you feel knowing that there are more women than men at Lincoln now?
Hey, it is what it is.
As Binky said, it is what it is.
What it is.
We'll put that on the shirt as well.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
I think it's great, but I'd like to see more men.
Yeah, I would.
Black men really, have time in this country. And we need to do whatever we can to develop and encourage Black men to come to college. And there are brilliant young men out there who just don't have the opportunity. So I would like to see more, but I'm happy the women are there and doing well.
Right.
Absolutely. Miss Gladys, how do you feel about that? As the first female African-American graduate of Lincoln University, how do you feel that there are more women than men on campus now?
More women than men?
Yeah.
Oh, no, when I was there, there were not, that was not the situation. When I was there, there was, there's one woman or two women.
Right. And now there are many. You see what you started?
Hmm?
You see what you started?
Oh.
You started the trend.
Okay.
You'll accept it.
You know what? I think I would like to know right now whether how many. I would like to know how many women there are, and I would think that there might be more women now than there are men.
There are.
Oh, really?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh.
These are your children.
Okay.
you started this, so we have to. You guys are the trendsetters.
Okay.
You are the lady pioneers. So we are here because of you all.
Well,
I know
probably
saying that I am because you are because I am, and who are we? We're Lincoln ladies.
But you know what, Brittany, I was thinking, I remember, Carol, you said that you started and you did recruiting. I guess there needs to be more recruitment again of African American men.
I think so.
To come to Lincoln.
Yes.
I think that I'm thinking this is just a personal thing, and then I'll shut up. My kids, all four of them, went to HBCUs. Spelman, Hampton, Cheney, and Howard. But we were so tickled, and we're happy because we were HBCU people. But I was so tickled when my son Jeff, the youngest, was accepted to Princeton. And he was, as a matter of fact, in Michelle Obama's class. But when I think but he went to Howard for law school. But when I think about it, I think that for a while, some of our best and brightest began to go to the white schools. I mean, Harvard, Tufts, Columbia, and while that's a good thing, I think that we need to come back to, particularly in the undergraduate years, to HBCUs. Now, one of the things that has happened that is pretty good is that Kamala Harris is now the vice president, of the United States. And now all of a sudden, a lot of folks are where they were wearing, shirts that said had the big white schools. Now everybody got a Howard shirt on, and horror. You know what I mean? But it needs to come back to that because that's what we came from. That's what we were. And we were smart and we could do. And sometimes, and I know people have said I'm a fool saying this, but sometimes desegregation kind of like put us a step back. Do you know what I'm saying? I know it's a wonderful thing to go to what the white man has and what white he got to offer and we got to go and all that kind of stuff. But it took away our feeling of like togetherness, you know what I mean? And that and we had respect for each other. We didn't think that the white man knew it all because we were with people, including some of us who knew it all too. Do you know what I mean? And I know I'm preaching, that don't make sense, but
you make a lot of sense. You make a lot of sense, Miss Binky. You have left us with a charge. And as I turn this back over to Miss Dawn, I just want to say thank you for
Wait a minute. We also need to start giving more money to
more money. That's how we
right.
We were getting into it, Miss Patsy.
Give money. Everybody who's sitting here today, send some money to Lincoln University. Send it to them.
Miss Binky just preached. Miss Patsy did the offering call, and I'm going to give y'all the benediction for this evening. She's going to give the closing remarks, and then she's going to have Dr. Allen, our esteemed president, to come on. But I just would like to say thank you again for all having me here. Do we have a charge right here? HBCUs are relevant. They are standing. We all grew from an HBCU, and I'm just so happy. I'm filled tonight, and I'm going to go and touch about 10 ladies right now, and I'm going to tell them about my Lincoln University experience to hope to inspire someone to go to an HBCU, and more particularly Lincoln University. The truth.
Amen.
Thank you, Brittany. Thank you so much. You did an excellent job. And thank you all. Oh my gosh, my cup is full.
Right.
As it is. I'm speechless. But I'm gonna turn the time over to Dr. Allen, our current president of the Lincoln University, so she can give some words. And then, you know, guys, I will be in touch with each of you. So, okay, hold on. Dr. Allen.
So I first want to say thank you. And like you, Dawn, I'm speechless, and I'm usually never, ever speechless. That was just an amazing bit of time to spend. I don't think that we do enough of it. And I agree with people in the chat. We just need to regularly check in. When we listen to those stories, and I'm thinking there are some things that are so familiar about my time, and then there are things that I would have never known. And so I just want to thank each one on the panel for being so generous with your stories. I'm about to ask y'all to pull out Miss Binky's little speech. That's going to be my new recruiting tool. And I'm going to take Miss Patsy's little speech, and that's going to be our new fundraising chant there. Miss Patsy, I owe you a call.
Yes, you do, girl.
I've just been very busy, but Miss Patsy did come to visit me, and I heard some of her stories about 4 years ago, and they are hilarious. So I appreciated when Miss Binky talked about calling the guy Speedy, and Miss Patsy talked about some guy they call Shaky, who had
Shaky Jones, Professor Jones, because he had palsy. Poor thing.
Right, and I'm like, whoa, okay.
That's rebel. That's
so when you talk about transformative and thick-skinned and all that kind of stuff, you know, the dozens come in our lives, and it makes us better for it, because you know your family will give it to you with love, so that nobody else can make you can hurt you with their words. And so I'm around a lot of people who say I love my HBCU, but I know that this is a special love that we have for Lincoln, and I just appreciate this committee pulling back the women. I taught for 15 years at a women's college, and high tea was actually the tradition that I love the most. You sit together. It's such class, but at the same time, you can talk trash at high tea. So I just really enjoyed it. So I want to say to Leslie that the shirts for the ladies are on me. So the shirts and send me the bill. I'm so appreciative of the time we spent together. And again, thank you to the committee. This was a wonderful, wonderful program. And nothing can match. I've gone through all the catalogs. So I've watched your names, you know, get bigger and bigger as a part of the classes coming in. So all of the bulletins from the early days had everybody's name, and I used to count the number of women. So as I've been reading the classes of 67 and 68 who have been 69 who have had reunions since I've been here, I know how lonely it is because I can count 3 names, 2 names in a whole group, but to actually hear you all and know that the experience made you better for having the experience, number one,
Right.
but also just the words about how kind the men were. So
Yeah.
I have to say that I've received nothing but love from the men who many of you were in class with. People have been so supportive. And while we worry about the ways in which men and women get along in the world, I think there's something very special about Lincoln men. And the reception of me has been nothing more than just heartwarming. And so it was really good to hear you say, Miss Binky, that kind is the word that you walk away from. So thank you again. Hope to get with you all again. We shouldn't let too much time go by. We really need to extract from this conversation. I think this is legacy just right in front of our faces. And please know that we love you and we are so blessed to still have you in our family. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Allen, for those great words. And thank you for taking the bill. Yay! Appreciate it.
She gave
Okay.
me steaks and a hoagie when I was there.
Miss Patsy, when COVID is over, we are together. Do you hear me?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
And now we'll hear closing remarks from Dawn Florizard.
Okay.
And then we are done.
Okay.
Well, first of all, there's not much to say. I think everybody said everything, and this has just been a profoundly impactful program. I can't stop smiling. I was very fortunate to be part of the practice run, so I got to hear a lot of the firsthand stories. And on this call, not only do we have the panelists who are here to share their experiences in the tradition of griots, that's what we know, and not throughout the diaspora and our African spirit. We keep our history orally.
Right.
And this is just a testimony and a testament to that, and an opportunity to start bringing that back into the fold, because we talk about the disconnection with us and our students, and just having this opportunity to really reconnect at that level. And we have other pioneers on the call who are not a part of the panel. I was excited. I met Marita Rivera today, and for those of you who know that Jim was named after her dad, so that's like a piece of history that you know, one thing about Lincoln is that you always have the opportunity to touch history.
Right.
And I felt that when I was a student on campus. What's profound for me in this is that when I was at Lincoln, and I was there when Dr. Sudarkasa started, and she did the Alumni Hall of Fame, and it was in the gym, but the women always seemed to be missing, you know? And we talk about Lincoln history being American history and world history, because we know we stand on the shoulders of great, but the courage it took for you women to be the first, you make it sound easy, but we know it wasn't always easy. It wasn't easy when we were there, and we were the majority of the campus, at least when I was there. But because of the steps you took, you made our path much easier. We may not have had a path at Lincoln, so for that we thank you. Lincoln produced greatness, and on this call, all we see is the greatness. I mean, at a time when many of you were supposed to go to school to get an MRS, you came out and you had whole lives and careers, and you continue to inspire us traveling. And I'm with Dawn, when this is all over, you know, let's gather somewhere and continue these conversations, because they've been absolutely amazing. I thank all of the alumni and friends who joined us. My heart was warmed because we had 200 people register, which is kind of a big deal for any activity. And I know many of us are zoomed out at this point in life because of work.
More people.
And I think at our high, we were about 145. And that just shows how much we love and care, and we needed this. And I agree with everybody. Let's just keep it going. We have this recorded. Yes, I think this is something the students should do. Thank you to the program committee for pulling this off. I mean, this was amazing. I think sometimes we don't know how amazing something can be until we're on the other side of it. So Dawn, thank you for taking the helm. That's the other Dawn. She actually walked before me the day of graduation in college.
That's right.
So, you know, Dawn is the Dawn fan. Families were clapping for the wrong people, but it was all good. But, you know, and Brittany, you did an amazing job. It's really great to connect with younger alumni and just bring all of this together. And just again, I really hope we can continue this. Just to give a plug. Everybody gave the plugs for giving money and stuff. So, you know, you don't have to hear about my mouth about donating. But I will say that Carol Black also has been doing work with Dr. Bunton with the class with students, where a lot of alumni come in and speak. There's one tomorrow. We'll send it out to everybody on this. So there are lots of opportunity to reconnect and re-engage. So please take advantage. Please tell us more of what you want. Please get involved and engage with the Alumni Association so we can have more of this, and definitely help us reach not just our other alumni, but our students as well, and create that bridge and step into the gap, because that's what we do. So again, thank you, everybody.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. Well done, ladies.
Yeah, well done.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
This slideshow.
This is nice.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. Thank you for coming.
Good night.
Thank you
Night.
for pulling this together.
Thank you.
Bravo. This
Wait
is a
to-
great slideshow.
Yeah, wait to see the pictures.
Yeah. Yeah. That's honey.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
This is great.
It is.
Wow.
Good night, daughter.
Wow.
And most of these pictures were taken from the yearbooks that are on the Lincoln University website. They've been digitized.
Oh, good.
Ah. Oh, wow. Look at Dash.
My mother. There's my mother right there.
Oh.
Hey.
Oh, wow.
Andy Magruder.
Pat Jacobs?
Dean Walker.
Dean Walker. Yeah, right.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. Here's Cheryl.
Hey, Cheryl.
That's how I remember Cheryl. Oh, my goodness.
Hey, Kathy.
Kathy. Oh, my goodness. Charlene. Oh, my goodness.
Okay, bye.
Wow.
I don't know.
My
I'm trying to
goodness.
get this back in. Oh, wow. Look at Carolyn.
Oh, wow.
This is just the mic. This is your headpiece.
I know, but it.
Fantastic. Just fantastic.
You're done, right?
Wonderful. Wonderful presentation.
That was fantastic. Wow.